I was waiting to hear that the president will build the Port Harcourt Maiduguri railway line, which is the Eastern Rail Line. You will recall that I brought a motion here for the federal government to build the Eastern Rail Line, and that motion was co-sponsored by 35 senators. It was unanimously resolved that the president should build standard gauge rail from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. All the senators on that corridor co-sponsored that motion. So I was expecting a legacy project, Eastern Rail Line, running from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. But it does appear that it has been overlooked again. Looking at the budget...
We have not seen the details now. This is
I've seen the provision on land transportation. What we have there is 223 billion. 223 billion. We have looked at it, and it is obvious with the ongoing projects from Kaduna to Kanu, Kanu to Maladi, and other rail lines under construction. That Port Harcourt Maiduguri rail line can hardly be there. So I want to draw the attention of the Senate to that. Let's hope that it is in the breakdown as you are hoping, but in the event that it is not there, I would like the Senate to intervene.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining me in this video. Please pay attention to this video. This is very important. Now, in 2025 budget, I'm talking about Nigerian budget, the Igbo development projects are not visible in the budget. So the budget simply clarifies that Igbos are not part of Nigeria. And it is as good as that, though Igbos are not worried because even they themselves, 90% of Igbos have left Nigeria mentally. Now, I want to set the record straight. During the Muhammadu Buhari administration, look at this newspaper report. Rotimi Amechi, former governor of Rivers State, who is the Minister of Transportation then, was begging the Niger Republic people for him to construct, according to what Buhari instructed him, for him to construct railway to their country. Now, they diverted railway money that was supposed to come to Igbo, and they diverted it to Niger Republic. Listen carefully. Now, there is Nokoja to Sowore railway that they constructed it. Now, the plan was, first of all, the second Niger Delta Bridge that crossed from Asaba to Onitsha, the second Niger Bridge. So there was a plan to put railway from Sowore down to Onitsha, Onitsha to Enugu. That was the plan, to put the railway around the place. But the railway money was hijacked. And Mechi, being an Igbo man from Port Harcourt, agreed with Buhari under the influence of Buhari because Buhari's father is from Niger Republic. And they now shifted the money to Niger Republic. Tell me, 80% of goods imported into Nigeria, the importers are Igbos. What happens if they construct from Lagos down to Sowore, or from Lagos down to Calabar, from Calabar straight to Enugu? Or what happens if you open the international route in Port Harcourt, then you construct a railway from Port Harcourt to different part of the places in the eastern Nigeria? And that is number one thing, okay? Now, after Buhari sidelined the Igbos, this is another sideline from Tinubu in a 2025 budget. But the lawmakers from Igbo's extract are there. Nobody talks anything. I am the first person that raised this and that. That was after 4 days, Tinubu tenders the 2025 budget. Now, recently, the senator from Anambra State, I think is Senator Ume of Labour Party, the man was raising, and we have gone through this thing, we have studied these things, Wendell, that the railway from the Eastern Railway from Maiduguri to Eastern States, the project is supposed to be there. They removed the project again. But all the other lawmakers are there. They did not talk. So it is an indication that, come on, now, Igbo land is no longer part of the system anymore. If you talk about scholarship, education, everything, they are sidelining Igbos. This is not paining the Southeasterners. But we want to set the record straight because all these things are the reason why the agitation for the separate country is, legitimate, because there is no country that can go forward in this way. Before I go forward, I want you to listen to Senator Ume, how he reacted in the Senate floor. Though his reaction was just no. If I am a senator, a House of Rep member, I don't think the budget will be passed into law. He said that they suspend me or they pass the budget. What do I know? Listen to him.
President, let me say that the budget presented yesterday was a very ambitious budget with very huge financial provisions in the highlighted sectors. I don't want to go into the economics of the budget, but I was wondering how 1,500 naira for $1 will bring down inflation from 34% to 15%. I'll leave that to work out. Let me go straight to where I have concern. Mr. President, my concern is on the infrastructure proposed by Mr. President to be built in 2025. During the budget speech, Mr. President highlighted that Sokoto-Badagry Highway will be built and the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway will be built. I was waiting to hear that the President will build the Port Harcourt-Maiduguri Railway Line, which is the Eastern Rail Line. You will recall that I brought a motion here for the federal government to build the Eastern Rail Line, and that motion was co-sponsored by 35 senators. It was unanimously resolved that the President should build standard gauge rail from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. All the senators on that corridor co-sponsored that motion. So I was expecting a legacy project, Eastern Rail Line, running from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. But it does appear that it has been overlooked again. Looking at the budget...
We have not seen the details now. This is
I've seen the provision on land transportation. What we have there is 223 billion. 223 billion. We have looked at it, and it is obvious with the ongoing projects from Kaduna to Kanu, Kanu to Maladi, and other rail lines under construction. That Port Harcourt-Maiduguri rail line can hardly be there. So I want to draw the attention of the Senate to that. Let's hope that it is in the breakdown as you are hoping. But in the event that it is not there, I would like the Senate to intervene, because the government has just announced free train ride starting from 20th December to 6th of January for the holidays. There's no rail line in that corridor. So I pray that the Senate should consider
your time is off.
Senate should consider that project to include it in the 2025 appropriation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Hussein Babangida.
I would like to say that the statement of Mr. President in talking about the milestone achieved in implementing a 2024 budget is not really reflected by the facts on the ground, because it talks about the revenues in record numbers. It talks about implementing expenditure up to 85% by the third quarter. But in the oversight functions that we undertook over the last 1 month, almost all the MDS got only about 20% of the capital budget. So it means that all the revenue we have been generating has been expended in recurrent. Therefore, not much development has taken place. Secondly, Mr. President, I think it is good to talk about implementing legacy infrastructure projects. You know, one of my colleagues have mentioned the Badagry Sokoto Highway and the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road. Mr. President, we have roads, highways within the country that are in very bad state. I would expect that we will also focus on rehabilitating existing roads that are in the country. Finally, Mr. President.
Your time is off.